how do you grow a newsletter from this to this in 28 days? In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 strategies I'd use to make over $1,000 in the first 28 days of a brand new newsletter. Let's go. Strategy number 1, get sponsored fast. Sponsorships and ads are an amazing way to monetize a newsletter long term. I've worked with hundreds of newsletters who make 7 to 8 figures per year from sponsorships alone. But when you're starting out, they have 3 big drawbacks. Number 1, you don't earn very much from ads with a small audience. On average, you need anywhere from 2,000 to 10,000 subscribers just to earn even $1,000 a month from newsletter sponsorships. Number 2, it can take a long time to close your first sponsorship deals with brands. Months. 3, and worst of all, you can't even properly start to close those deals until you've got that audience in place. So if we're starting a newsletter from scratch, we can't rely on the traditional sponsorship playbook that takes at least 3 months to start to see results. Here's what you're going to do instead. We're going to find a way to sell sponsorships to brands for $500 to $1,000 each, even if you only have 100 subscribers. Here's the playbook. Step 1, make a list of your top 20 target sponsors. Brands you think might realistically sponsor or advertise in your newsletter in the future once you hit 10,000 subscribers or above. Step 2, for each of those sponsors, come up with 2 to 3 ideas of in-depth sponsored content, like reviews, challenges, deep dives, stuff you could create for that brand and which your audience would find interesting. For example, with my own Grow My newsletter, I might want to go to a creator tool like ConvertKit to sponsor me in the future. And my idea might be something like an in-depth review of ConvertKit's growth features for newsletter creators. Then in step 3, you're going to reach out to those brands and pitch them on these ideas. But here's the important part. We're not going to package them as a traditional sponsorship opportunity. No, we're going to take them as a long-form piece of sponsored content that will be available in your newsletter, but that will also be available to read online, for them to share, and you'll promote it across your socials. And this is genius, because this way, it doesn't really matter that you don't have a big newsletter audience yet, because the brand's paying for a quality piece of positive content, not for your reach. And what's more, you'll now have a friendly relationship with those brands, even if they decide not to sponsor your content right now. For each of those sponsored pieces of content, you can easily set your pricing at $500 to $1,000 per article. And if you contact 20 brands, at least 1 or 2 of them should accept, getting you to $1,000 in revenue well before day number 28. But what if you don't want to go down the advertising route with your newsletter? What if you're building a newsletter audience that you want to monetize with products like courses, memberships, or digital info products? That's the situation I was in with my first ever newsletter way back in 2016. After a month, I only had 192 subscribers. I knew that even the best newsletters, they only convert 5% of their audience to paying customers. And I didn't have the time to waste weeks creating a video course or an ebook that maybe only a few people would buy. So I set myself a different goal of coming up with a product that fit 3 key criteria. Number 1, I'd have to be able to create it in less than 48 hours. Number 2, it had to be priced highly enough so that if 5% of my audience bought it, I'd earn more than $1,000. And number 3, I had to be confident that my audience would find the product exciting enough that they'd be happy to pay that price point. The outcome? I went through 50 different ideas and ended up deciding on a 90-minute live group training priced at $149. Exactly 8 of my 192 subscribers bought it, for a total of $1,192 earned within the first month. And most importantly, the feedback that I got from teaching that live class led to me being able to create other courses and products for my newsletter audience that ended up pulling in over $117,000 over the next 12 months. And you can do the same. First, you're going to grab my free list of every possible way to monetize your newsletter directly. Next, for each of those product or services ideas, ask yourself my 3 questions. Number 1, can you create it in less than 48 hours? Number 2, would 5% of your audience buy it? And number 3, can you make the price high enough that a 5% conversion rate would earn you $1,000 or more? And finally, pick the most promising product idea that ticks all 3 boxes and pitch it to your audience. Now, I love both the strategies we just mentioned, but they both have the same big issue. They force you as a beginner creator to choose between how you spend your time, whether you spend it on growing the newsletter or monetizing it. And as a beginner creator, your time is super valuable. You need to be growing and monetizing at the same time. And that's why this third strategy is my absolute favorite. Instead of being forced to choose between growth or revenue. You actually get paid to grow your newsletter. And the best part is, it works for everyone. Here's the playbook. Step 1, you're going to go to a free tool called sparkloop.app, and you're going to sign up to use their paid recommendations product. Step 2, you're going to add the recommendations widget from Sparkloop to your newsletter sign-up page. Now, every time someone subscribes to your newsletter, they'll see a pop-up recommending other amazing newsletters that subscriber might like. And for each successful recommendation, you'll earn anywhere from $1 to over $10. That means every single time you can convince someone to subscribe to your newsletter, you'll earn on average $2 to $3. And step 3, now that you know that every time someone subscribes to your newsletter, you're going to earn $2 to $3, it just becomes a question of math. How quickly can you grow your newsletter? To earn $1,000 at $2 per subscriber, we just need to add 500 new subscribers total in the 28 days. And that's just 18 new subscribers a day. Literally anyone can do that. Grab my free library of 70 ways to grow your newsletter and spend 30 minutes working on it every day. Make it a habit. Do it first thing in the morning, at lunch, or even after you've put the kids to bed. And boom, after 4 weeks, you'll have $1,000 or more in your pocket and a list of 500 readers who love your content and who you can monetize with products, sponsorships, or however you like in the future. Oh, and one more thing. Each of these strategies we mentioned, they work fine by themselves, but the real magic comes when you combine them together. You could earn $1,000 from paid recommendations while building your audience, another $1,000 from sponsorships, and then another $1,000 from selling your high-value product, all at the same time in month 1, for $3,000 or more in total. And if you want to make sure you're in the 1% of creators who keep momentum high and actually end up building a profitable newsletter business, there is no better starting point than mixing together these strategies. So grab all the free resources that I mentioned and get started. Thanks for watching.